Welcome back to the channel. It is the Gen X Trader here, and it is 22 September. So today we're going to do a quick trade review from this morning, and I'm going to go over some things that I discovered during my morning trading session, um, things that I need to work on. Minor things, little tweaks, and we'll get into that. So it kind of has to do with my taking the setup part of my strategy. Um, in the mornings, let's go over my trade review from this morning. So this morning, I took 8 trades, 5 green for 63% accuracy, and 2.2% profit this morning. I took trades on AGRI, BOXL, which I was red on. Actually, those were the only 2 stocks that I took trades on. But I noticed something when I was going back and doing my chart review. So because I'm still in that drawdown that I mentioned last week, when I make a red trade, I print the chart and I look at the chart immediately and I study it and see what I was doing wrong or what I was looking at incorrectly. And every morning before my trading session, I look at my optimal taking the setup strategy and I read the whole thing. In fact, I read my whole trading strategy every morning. Um, I get to the desk at 4:30 so that I'm ready for pre-market at 5, and part of it is to read my strategy every morning. And so basically, this is just the things. This that we're looking at on the screen is a list of the things that I should go through in my head before I click buy on a particular stock, um, before I take any position. So I have the checklist. Just confirm that it's a single ticker. The problem that I had the week before was my order entry window was different than the chart that I was looking at, and that was the initial error that I made the previous week. I changed my targets from 15 cents to 10 cents, and my stops at 1%. And when I'm going to get in a trade, I have multi-chart. So basically my watch list is, 4 to 6 stocks usually. And if I'm going to get in a trade, I change that multi-chart to a single chart. So I'm looking at one specific stock while I get in and while I'm in the position for the length of that position that I'm in it until I get out. And then before I take the trade, I also look at VWAP, MACD, the EMAs. That is the 9, the 20, and the 200. Make sure level 2 is active, volume's increasing, price increasing. And I also get confirmation on 2 other time frame charts. So normally I'm in the 5-second, but I also look at the 1 minute and the 5 minute, and or the 15 minute and the 1 hour for confirmation. So like if the 5-second it looks good, setup might look good, price is increasing. But if the 1 minute and the 5 minute are descending, then I wouldn't take that trade. And then also the spread on the level 2 should be less than 2 cents. And that's something that I just added recently. It's somewhat theoretical, so I'm just watching that now at this point. But I wrote it down so that I can pay attention to it. What I noticed this morning when I took my first trade on BOXL and I printed the chart out, MACD was inverted, and when I took the trade, and so that told me that I was not looking at my setup correctly. I was hyper focusing on price, even though I do go through. I look at the indicators, but I just get fixated on price for some reason, and kind of like looking back on my trades, I noticed that I do that. So if there's a trade that's setting up and it looks good to me, for some reason I just hyper focus on price only, and so I kind of need to change that. Now that I noticed it, it's a decision making process or a perception process that I need to correct. And so I wasn't really sure how to do that. Like, how do you tell yourself to, I have the list written here. How do I tell myself to make sure I look at my list or think about my list or just even, out of habit, do what I'm supposed to do, basically, when it comes to the fine print details on taking a setup uh, before I take a position. Um, so I've been using AI a little bit more and more these days. And so I turned to AI and basically told it everything that I just mentioned to you. So uh, I have a well-written stock market trading strategy, which I review every day and every 30 minutes while I'm trading. It's as thorough, as accurate as I can make it. I have a stock selection strategy and an optimum taking the setup strategy, which is very specific, or which has very specific indicators that need to be aligned before I take a buying position. So then I gave it my strategy, and it started talking to me, which I didn't need any feedback yet. I gave it my part of my strategy for it to look at, and then it started giving me more feedback, which I didn't need yet. So then I told it, Grok, that what was happening is, even though my accuracy is about 55 to 60%, I noticed that I was not following my strategy and that I'm ignoring or hyper focusing on price action alone, like I mentioned. So I just asked for some input. Um, I asked, what are some things I can do to build clarity of thinking and help me keep myself in check at the moment I'm taking a trade, to increase my accuracy and profits, or maybe there is something I need to do as a whole in my daily life. So this is a response, and it's actually pretty good. Your observation about missing key indicators. This is Grok talking to me now, or replying to me. Like MACD, due to hyper focusing on price action or ignoring your strategy, is a common challenge in trading, often tied to cognitive biases, emotional impulses, or lack of mental clarity during high pressure moments. Since you're aiming to increase your trade accuracy and profitability by sticking to your optimal trading or optimal taking the setup strategy, there are a few suggestions here, and some of these are really good. So at the moment of taking a trade, uh, pre-trade pause for 10 to 30 seconds. Now, this is not likely to occur. I'm not going to, if there's a trade that's going to happen, it's going to happen. So I'm not a swing trader, and I'm basically a scalper at this point. So that's not likely to happen, although it's a good idea. There's a quick grounding technique, which is breathing, which I do implement already. I do that every half hour. But it did also recommend visual cues on the charts, and that is changing the cues for the colors for indicators, which is a really good idea. I have, I don't know why, but most of my indicators are blues or grays or whites. So I am going to take this one and make some changes on my charts to make them more visible, particularly the MACD. I don't know, maybe I'll use red and yellow. I'm not sure yet. But that customizing the charts is a good idea, which I will implement. Using the risk reward tool in Thinkorswim. I don't know that there's a risk reward tool in Thinkorswim. I had talked with Grok about this before, and so I think there's a little bit of confusion on Grok's part about this. But anyway, I'm going to ignore that. So automation to enforce discipline. Setting up conditional alerts is actually another really good idea. I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm going to do some research and see if I can figure that out. And if I can get a ping or a little like a ding or something to alert me, um, I will implement that. I'm going to research that a little bit later. So that's another good one. Using bracket orders. I don't know if I can do bracket orders pre-market, which most of my trading. So I'm pre-market basically from 7 to 9:30 Eastern time, and maybe an hour after that. So for that hour after the market opens, I could use bracket orders. But for the most part, most of my trading in the mornings would be pre-market. And I looked it up one time before, and I don't think that bracket orders are available pre-market, but I'll check that again. So um, another suggestion was a verbal or written commitment, which is not a bad idea. I heard someone else mention this before about writing your contract with yourself every morning. Just something simple. So I'll probably implement this. Um, so when I had heard another trader mention this about signing a contract with yourself, I kind of just dismissed it. But I think at this point, it might, if it keeps me in check, then so be it. So I'll probably give this one a try also. Timeout rule, I do that. Right now, I'm doing that. If I take a red trade, I take a timeout away from the desk. Um, and so, yeah, I did that already, which is good. Daily life adjustments, morning prep, 5 to 10 minutes. I do that. I give myself a half an hour. So I'm at the desk at 4:30, and I'm ready for pre-market at 5, which is 7 a.m. Eastern. Um, Journaling and post-trade analysis, I do that. I do journal. Um, I'm relatively thorough with it. So I could get a little bit better, I guess, but I do like a handwritten journal while I'm trading. Physical and mental health, sleep. I have been working on sleep, getting more sleep, especially during the week. Exercise, I need to work on that still. And I have been doing the walks and stuff with the dog, but I need to be a little bit more consistent with it. And nutrition, I have recognized that I need to work on nutrition. I do drink a lot of water, primarily water and coffee throughout the day, but things like sugar, I recognize that that's not good for me. So I've been telling myself I need to work on cutting that out and eating more fruit, which I have been doing. So, but I still have a good bit of work to do there. Practice if-then scenarios using a demo account. I'm not going to do that at this point. Limit distractions. I do have a social media rule, so I don't look at social media while I'm trading and before bed. I'm pretty focused for the most part, so I don't. It mentioned here something about using your single ticker rule. I do that. So I don't. Maybe it's suggesting limit distractions. Oh, like if I have other charts open, yeah. So I do close all my multi charts down to one. So I'm just looking at one stock, uh, which has helped. Measuring progress. So tracking accuracy. I have a spreadsheet which is ever growing. It's more and more detailed each week. So I do track that, which includes profitability, accuracy, price, quantity, RVOL, profits, percent made on the trade, dollar increase per average per trade, uh, daily P&L, weekly P&L, monthly, red, green, all that. So there's a bunch of stuff. And then let's see, tailored suggestions, MACD oversight fix. So since missing MACD is a specific issue, set a prominent visual or audio alert. So that is what I'm going to look at alerts today. I haven't looked at it yet, but that would be very helpful if I had an alert. Price action temptation. To counter hyper-focusing on price, practice a two-step confirmation rule. First, confirm price action, increasing price level 2 activity. Second, validate technicals. MACD, VWAP 200. This ensures price doesn't override your checklist. Well, I mean, this isn't too useful. I kind of already have this. I have it written down. It's right here next to me. So that's the problem that I'm having right there. So that one's not very helpful. Quick grounding for impulse control. When you feel the urge to trade based on price alone, use a tantra inspired technique. Press your thumb and index finger and gently focus on the sensation for 5 seconds. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I like that. I could try that. I don't know that I'm not grounded, but I do. Yeah, I can probably try to implement that. That's down on the priority list, though. Then it gave me some other semi-suggestions of things I could look for. So then I said, yeah, please look for insights into trader psychology or other tools. I'll look at scripts later. One thing that struck me initially was that it suggested something about emotional impulses, which I asked about. Specifically, if social media has anything to do with that emotional impulses, and that is making me emotionally impulsive. Part of my overall strategy does include eliminating social media before bed and while trading, but maybe the habit is becoming ingrained in my psyche. What do you think? Uh, Insights on trader psychology, cognitive biases, emotional impulses, and mental clarity. Trading psychology is really interesting to me. Fear of missing out. I definitely have that. I got to deal with it. Um, Although I have been managing it. So like today, I forget what trade I was in. Another stock was looking good, like it, would be a good opportunity to take a trade, but I was already in a position, so I just refrained from trading it. And so I think before I would have taken both trades simultaneously, but that ends disastrously. So I'm kind of getting there. I'm, a little bit of self-discipline and recognizing that this is an issue, but it's an ongoing issue. So fear of missing out and greed, definitely. Confirmation bias and overconfidence. I don't know that I have overconfidence. So you might selectively see positive price momentum while downplaying conflicting signals. Now I'm not seeing conflicting signals because I'm not looking at them. Now, I look at them initially, but at the moment that I take a trade, I'm not looking at them. So it's not that I'm ignoring them or seeing them and ignoring them. It's just that I'm not seeing them at all, period. Um, Loss aversion and regret aversion. Yes, this is me also. After a red trade, fear of repeating losses can make you hyper cautious or revenge trade, amplifying emotional fog in high pressure moments, which is why I started. I take a break when I take a red trade. Take a break from the desk, then I print the chart out and then mark the chart up and study the chart real quick. It takes about 5 minutes. So I'm not looking at the market for like 5 minutes. So yes, I do have that loss aversion and regret aversion because I noticed that if I take a red trade, I get frustrated, and then the next trade that might come up, I tend to get real sloppy on my entry. And so that's why I implemented that. It kind of slows me down, grounds me a little bit, and it gives me a quick insight into what I was thinking when I took the red trade so that I can at least process it and digest what I did wrong. To build clarity during these moments, experts recommend self-awareness techniques like journaling. Yes, I do that. Journaling is recommended by almost everybody that I follow in social media, and so I do that. Um, Emotions and poor trading decisions create a vicious cycle. Uncontrolled feelings like fear or greed drive impulse trades, which often lead to losses, fueling more emotional turmoil. Prioritize logic and discipline So decisions come from strategy, not sentiment. Yeah, that's good. I don't know. I could look up this source, but that was someone posting that on X. Tools to enforce checklist discipline. Trading journals, which I'll probably use TraderView in the future. Right now, I have my spreadsheet, which is, it's tracking all the information, but TraderView is definitely much better for that. But for now, I just do it myself. Pre-trade checklists, um, which I will implement this as a contract with myself. Basically, it won't be Google Sheets. It'll be like a quick little written thing that I sign. I'll put something on it and sign it or something. Risk management automations. I do this, controlling the amount of capital that I use each day and my stops. So this is good, but I do that already. Daily routines and trade limits, structured schedules, such as 3 trades a day. Yes, this is good. I kind of do that based on, um, I basically cut my capital available to me by 50%. So, um, yeah, that's good. And then performance analytics software. Eventually, that'll be TradingView. Not right now. Social media's role in emotional impulses. Is it ingrained in your psyche? So absolutely. Social media can amplify emotional impulsivity in trading, even if you've already limited it before bed and during sessions. Research and trader experiences show it rewires habits through dopamine-driven cycles. Quick scroll highs from seeing others win create FOMO, making you more prone to chase price action in real trades. Um, I suppose that's accurate. I don't know that I specifically look at other people, taking wins in trading and like, oh man, I'm going to go get me a win. Because I initially started when I first started, I slowed myself way down when I first started trading. So, um, yeah, so but it is there. I do recognize that FOMO is a thing. Um, for example, passive scrolling, which is kind of what I was wondering about. I saw something in here. Studies link it to heightened arousal and reduced self control. Mirroring trading's emotional triggers. One post on X nails it. A huge part of trading psychology is to stay in your own lane. If you spend most of your time consuming content on social media, you are witnessing other traders posting snippets of their winning trades. You may be led to overtrade and become fearful of missing positions. So that probably is true. Like I don't recognize that I do that specifically when I look at other people trading. Like for example, Ross Cameron, like he's, whatever his accuracy is and his success rate, it's obviously much better than mine. But um, I don't know that I'm reactive due to that. So I take it more of like a lesson learned. So, but um, I understand that psychology uh, is or could be there. Um, Your habit of eliminating it during key times is a strong start, but the ingrained psyche effects come from residual exposure. Even off hours use builds a tolerance for instant gratification, making it harder to pause for your checklist when pressure hits. It's like emotional residue. Dopamine from likes and reposts conditions impulsive responses. Hmm. Increasing vulnerability to biases like overconfidence after a viral trade idea. That's interesting. So, dopamine from likes and reposts. So, I'm wondering if, like that is conditioning me or an individual into taking some action looking for that dopamine hit. That's really interesting. Hitting like or getting likes on your posts or whatever, and you know, then our psyche thinking that we're in the trade, getting into a trade is like you're going to get that dopamine hit by getting in a trade and the trade going your way, which that's pretty interesting. Uh, Anyway, the good news is it's reversible. Traders report breaking the cycle by curating feeds, unfollowing hype accounts, setting app limits, which I'm going to have to do some more of that, setting my app limits on how much consumption during the day, uh, or doom scrolling, basically, to align with my daily reviews to rewire for patience over impulse. That's good. Rewire for patience over impulse. If it's deeply ingrained, consider a 7-day detox. That would be good. Maybe a one day a week. We'll see. Um, anyway, so that's it. So that was what I did today after my trading session. And I have been doing this with AI more often. So if I have a question, I think in the past I would kind of go to YouTube, or maybe not X, but I would search up a question on YouTube and see if someone else talked about it. But it would tend to be in context of, you know, their personal experience or where they are as a trader, which probably would tend to be a much more successful trader. But um, it wasn't really tailored. Their video would not have been tailored to my specific question or answer that I was looking for. So this is just one way that I use AI, and I have been using it more and more. I use Chat GPT also. I think I use Grok a little bit more, but so I'm just kind of trying to use it to my benefit, to figure myself out a little bit. And I'm going to use a few of these things today. These are really, really good. And so anyway, I hope that kind of helps a little bit. Definitely going through this helped me. And so I got some studying to do later. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching.